Some wristwatches are more than just mere accessories used in keeping track of time. In other words, particular sets of watches have been rather beautifully crafted to become a treasured possession, an heirloom, and a lasting emblem of power, taste, and class. Therefore, as the premium showpieces of this exclusive class of wristwatches, we have selected 3 of the most expensive watches made by the world's most famous and expensive watch brand, Rolex. These are rare watches with historical backgrounds that have given them snappy names of celebrities, world leaders, and other people of renowned significance in the world's history. It's on this basis that they've acquired their eminence and prestige. Guess that's enough to whet your appetite for luxury already. So let's dive right into it. Number 1. Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona. $17 million. Are you worried about the perfect gift for your lover on his next birthday? Not to worry, the story behind the rise and fame of Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona is the best fit to teach you how to do that in style and with luxury. It all started with Paul Newman's wife's decision to patronize the world's most expensive watch brand to get her husband a perfect and treasured gift in 1968. Joanne Woodward, Paul Newman's wife, bought the classic watch from a Tiffany & Co. store in New York and had it engraved with the message, "Drive carefully me," bearing in mind her husband's budding motor racing career. However, it is quite intriguing that at the time, Joanne wasn't aware she was about to get the watch that will turn out to be the world's most expensive watch ever sold for over $17 million in some years to come. It's no doubt that Paul Newman fell in love with the Rolex Daytona, just as he did with his wife. The Oscar award-winning actor was reportedly seen to have worn the watch every day for 15 years. This alone gradually spiked up the fame of the watch to the extent that it became obligatory to name it after the legendary American actor in the 1980s. Moving on thereafter, due to the diverse connections and ties Paul Newman has, the watch has also drawn admirers from the motorsports world, Hollywood, and the American community. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that at the auctioning of the watch in 2017, over 700 people crammed the auction room, and with many others virtually joining from over 43 countries of the world. The watch eventually became the world's most expensive wristwatch within just 12 minutes of intense bidding at the Grand Phillips Winning Icon auction in New York. Therefore, although the watch isn't a rare Rolex model, Paul Newman's reputation has brought all the extrinsic value that has spiked up the watch valuation in the realms of watches today. Despite the fact that it was Paul Newman's reputation that has also brought the Rolex Daytona into the exclusive class of watches today, its intrinsic designs are also alluring enough. The 1963 Swiss-made Cosmograph Daytona brought together the two entities of time and racing. The watch is a special Rolex model, made for motorsport use, and this was what even made it the perfect gift Joanne could get for her husband, who just fell in love with motor racing in 1968. The watch, therefore, for this purpose, has an exotic black-on-white dial, 3 sub-dials, a tachymeter scale attached to the 300 units per hour stainless steel bezel, and big pushers to operate the chronograph functions. Paul Newman's Daytona is also not without its renowned and reliable mechanical heart called the Valjoux 72 movement. The watch also has a fine black leather strap to finally make it a wearable work of art. Therefore, Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona presents you with a world of luxury, not because of its look, but its history. As of now, the watch remains the king of the watch world as the most expensive watch ever sold. A combination of Paul's love for his sport and the love he and his wife have for each other, this watch just goes to show that love is the most priceless gift of all. Number 2. Rolex Bao Dai. $5 million. As we speak, the Rolex Bao Dai remains an all-time celebrated historical timepiece amongst watch enthusiasts. With its absolute rarity, originality, design, historical significance, and brand, the watch is considered a holy grail piece by watch collectors. Just from its history, the watch exudes astonishing wealth, royalty, prestige, and taste. Upon the simple request of the 13th and last emperor of Vietnam to have the rarest and most precious Rolex ever made, the Rolex Bao Dai came to the limelight in 1954. The Vietnamese emperor had always been known to exemplify the meaning of his name as the keeper of greatness by purchasing great and luxurious things, like his famous Ferrari 375mm Spider or villas and private yachts made just for him. Therefore, Going by the Vietnamese emperor's wealth, style, and expensive taste, the Rolex Bao Dai has got the perfect name to define its splendor. All these led to the valuation of the watch sold for over $5 million at the Geneva watch auction by Philips, making it the most expensive watch at the time. But the next question is, what made the watch so appealing to the Vietnamese emperor and other watch enthusiasts, even after several years of being manufactured? The answers aren't far-fetched. First of all, the watch has spectacular features, which are obvious to anyone with expensive taste. Of course, the watch may have gained its fame by being bought by such an important and wealthy historical figure. But that aside, the watch generates its lure by the distinctive features it bears. These distinctive features make the watch the rarest brand of the most expensive watch brand in the world. For instance, the 18-karat yellow gold watch is one of only 3 black dial models ever known to exist. To further showcase its luxury and uniqueness, the Rolex Bao Dai, unlike the other 2 models, has even its hours marked with diamond, and also displays a different dial layout. It is also interesting to know that because the watch's 12 o'clock is diamond marked, another distinctive feature of the watch became inevitable. This is the fact that the Rolex crown had to move down away from its normal position in other Rolex models. Also, the shift in the Rolex crown made it impossible to have the popular inscription, Rolex Oyster Perpetual, in its regular position above the day and month apertures. The officially certified chronometer wording was also removed from the center of the dial and placed below the moon phase indication. The watch also features the emblematic oyster case, a one-of-a-kind full calendar complication with a moon phase display, along with the classical perpetual in-house movement. Altogether, it can be stated that all the shifts and rearrangements in the look of the Rolex Bao Dai are for the greater good of achieving a uniqueness that perfectly fits royalties like the Emperor of Vietnam back then and even now. Number 3. Marlon Brando's Apocalypse Now Rolex GMT-MASTER, $1.9 million. If you appreciate history and cinema, then you should find the story behind the fame and glamour of the Rolex GMT-MASTER an intriguing one to hear. Just like the blockbuster movie in which it was first cited in 1979, the Rolex GMT-MASTER has now been found to be presently worth over $1.9 million during its auctioning at the Game Changer auction in 2019. As a historical timepiece, the watch comes with its unique background story, which doesn't only command rapt attention, but indeed gives the watch its name and prestige among other watches in the world. The watch was worn by the legendary actor Marlon Brando in Ford Coppola's epic war movie titled Apocalypse Now in 1979. While on set, the beauty of the historic timepiece was outstanding, to the extent that it was perceived to be too polished for Brando's character as Colonel Walter Kurtz in the movie. This made Brando give the watch some harsh distortion by removing the watch's bezel. However, it's surprising the watch retains its classic look to date. Fast forward from being on set with Brando, the history of the watch took a romantic turn as it rose to become a family heirloom. In 1995, the watch became the perfect legacy that Brando could pass down to his adopted daughter, Petra Brando Fisher. Petra would offer the watch to her husband in 2003, who preferred to keep it safe as the family heirloom instead. Besides its rich history that gave rise to its fame, there's also the splendor of its outlook. The watch has a somewhat weird, distinctive look, and this rather added to the watch's rarity and uniqueness. Despite its missing bezel and its improvised black strap, the watch remains well polished and classic to behold. To further embellish its uniqueness, the watch has on its caseback a suitably rough but fitting M. Brando engraving that was done by Brando himself. In all, even though the watch has lost its originality, it remains a timepiece that doesn't only keep track of the present world's time, but also gives its owner a touch with history. Although the watch was at some point perceived to be lost, the valuation of the lost Rolex GMT-MASTER was sporadically increasing. It became a hunted treasure by watch collectors, and was even listed by Hodinkee as one of the 12 greatest missing watches in 2014. And upon being found, the watch stole the show within a few minutes of intense bidding to become one of the world's most expensive watches. Finally, for those who still doubt how a watch that ordinarily should cost just $20,000 at the resale market has risen to become this expensive, Brando himself has a review of the watch for you. In the exact words of Brando when gifting the watch to his daughter, "The watch is like a tank. You can do anything you want with it and it will keep going on." Isn't that impressive? There you have it. With their different storylines and historical value, these 3 vintage timepieces have made the watch world go berserk with their valuations. They aren't just the most expensive Rolex watches, they are also generally the world's most expensive watches that watch collectors are hunting down with massive sums of money. These watches have therefore become luxuries that are also investment worthy, as it is believed that they will continue to increase in value. Therefore, we do not doubt that what you've just witnessed are timeless watches. What wristwatch has the best story for you, and which one would you rather have? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. And check out more awesome ones on the King Luxury channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.